Okay, so this movie surprised me. So I think like most of us, when the trailer first dropped for Predator Badlands, I thought it looked terrible. And if you know me, you know I'm one of those guys, if I'm not enjoying the movie within the first few minutes, I'll shut it off and put on something else that hopefully I will enjoy. Life is too short to waste watching mediocre movies. And so I turned on Predator Badlands expecting it to be lame and planned to make a review about how bad it was. I expected over-the-top acting, predictable cliches, and a movie that I thought would get nominated for a Razzie. But to my surprise, that opening sequence actually reeled me in. We open up with our protagonist Deck and his brother Quai having a sparring battle, and in spite of Deck's best efforts, is just overpowered by his big brother's brute strength. After the combat, Quai tells Deck he needs to go on a hunt and earn his place in the Yasha clan. Deck agrees and relishes at the opportunity to prove himself worthy. Moments later, Deck and Quai's father arrive in a spacecraft, and the father tells Deck he is too weak to be a member of their clan and that weakness has to be cold. So he apprehends Deck and instructs Quai to execute his little brother. But instead, Quai cuts his brother loose and launches him into their space carrier and locks the door out of harm's way from their father. And Quai now goes to battle with their father as Deck can only watch from the door. Quai puts up a good fight, but their father, who is a much more experienced fighter, kills Quai. As Deck is beating on the door trying to escape to help his brother, but cannot. And I admit, this scene was way more effective than I thought it would be. It really got me invested into the story, and that is your movie's goal. Get your audience locked in within the first 10 to 15 minutes. So now, not only is Deck looking to prove himself to earn his spot in the Yasha clan, but now he's also wanting to avenge his brother's death. So all of that about 13 minutes into the movie, and I am locked in. So thumbs up on that front. Also, here's some other aspects that really stood out to me, yes, throughout the whole movie, but especially in that opening sequence. First off, the score was excellent. It added to the experience as a score should and really helped bring this world to life. In case you're not familiar with what a movie score is, it's that subtle music playing in the background of the scenes that conveys emotion and tone to the audience. A good movie score can elevate the entire film and amplify your story, and this score did precisely that. The next thing is they actually created a custom language for the Yasha clan. So when the Predators spoke, it wasn't English or any other language, and it was really well done. The reverb and pitch modulator they added onto the vocals were just immaculate. It really felt like you actually were listening to an authentic language between aliens. So yeah, you actually have to read subtitles when they speak or you won't understand a thing they say.
Ja ties on listan on rungul. Ja ties ton hoa a. Alisk o hoyong ye ha. Ja hong. Ja uppi rungul. Wow yin lau mut nyu jaskul. Gulang. Juhlix.
And another thing I wanted to point out was just how good this actor was who played Deck. Not only did he have to learn this new custom Yacha language and speak as fluently as he did, but he also had to make Deck's expressions match that language and come to life under the prosthetics. And I was surprised just how expressive he was in conveying emotion. If it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have felt for Deck nearly as much when he was begging his father to spare him, and then when witnessing his father execute his brother in front of him. It was gut-wrenching to watch and really made you feel Deck's pain through his eyes and expression, none of which I was expecting to see from a Predator. I wasn't planning to feel any kind of emotion when watching this. But I think the actor, director, and makeup crew all pulled it off masterfully. So after Deck's father killed his brother, he flew his spacecraft into the planet of Genna to go on his first hunt and earn his place in the Yacha clan. And as soon as he arrives in Genna, the Predator role reverses and he becomes the hunted instead of the hunter. So I know a lot of people who love the Predator franchise did not care for this installment because it wasn't as gory and brutal as the previous Predator films. But it actually is extremely violent. It just doesn't depict any human killings the way that the other installments do. In fact, there's not a single human being in this entire film, only synthetic robots that emulate human beings. So there's no red human blood, just lots and lots and lots of green alien blood and a little bit of orange dragon blood. I would say, of course, the original Predator is the best of the series, but I would say Predator Badlands is probably the second best in the franchise in my opinion. It may not be quite as brutal as the previous Predator films, but it still works nonetheless. If you liked the Predator franchise but you avoided this movie because you heard negative reviews, I recommend giving it a try and watching for yourself because you may be pleasantly surprised. Alright, so that's about it for this review. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Thanks for watching, and God bless.